So if you're looking for the Redmi Note 13 with the Poco launcher, it's here. This is actually the Poco X6 Neo, but it's actually the Redmi Note 13 in a rebrand. So is this phone any good? Let's find out. So the unboxing experience is pretty similar. You do get the phone itself, the case inside the box, along with the 33-watt charger and the cable itself. The phone is fairly slim at just 7.6 millimeters in terms of thickness, which is the same as the Redmi Note 13. And it also weighs in at 175 grams, which is also the same as the Redmi Note 13. And it also has the same kind of hardware on the inside. So this phone has a 6.67-inch AMOLED display with 120 Hz of refresh rate. It also has an always-on display. It's a full HD plus resolution, and you also have Corning Gorilla Glass protecting the front. The phone also has support for Wildvine L1, so if you're going to be streaming on this device, it's not a problem. And this is one of those rare devices that still has a headphone jack and also an infrared blaster, so you can control all your electronics at home without any issues. Overall, this phone does offer the same specifications at the same price tag as the other phone. So why would you pick this? And that primarily falls into the software side of things, which we'll talk about in just a second. Hardware-wise, you have the MediaTek Dimensity 6080, which, surprise, surprise, is the same as the Redmi Note 13. And you have a couple of variants in which you can get a combination of virtual RAM and standard RAM to up to 24 gigabyte. And then you also have two storage options as well. RAM here is LPDDR4X and the storage is UFS 2.2, so not the fastest for either of those things, but in this price bracket, you're not expecting anything faster than that anyway. Performance-wise, this phone will keep its own, surprisingly, with the kind of chip that we have inside. It matches really well with Redmi phone as well. So spec-wise, they're the same, and also performance-wise. So you're getting a Geekbench CPU score of 719 on single core and a multi-core score of 1580 and an Antutu score of about 440,000, which is a pretty good score for this price bracket. And what you're getting in terms of cameras is also pretty similar. So you have a 108 megapixel Samsung sensor. It's an ISOCELL HM6 sensor, which does do a 3x lossless zoom. You can also capture 108 megapixel shots if that's something that you fancy for some reason. But video is capped at only 1080p at 30 frames per second, which is a big disappointment. And that's the same for the front camera as well, which is a 16 megapixel sensor. The rear camera also has an add-on sensor, which is depth sensor. It's a 2 megapixel sensor, which is basically completely useless apart from depth capture and portrait shots. And once you do capture portrait shots, you can go into the portrait editor and then adjust the aperture as well as the focus point of the image. So if you want to put focus on the background and not on the foreground, you can do that in post. A lot of camera features built in, and 108 megapixel shots also have an 108 megapixel zoom function. So you can actually zoom into a 108 megapixel picture quite a lot. Low light images are surprisingly poor quality, as you would expect. Not a lot of good image processing going on, but you do see a lot of noise in low light, and it tries to fix it digitally, and you can see that digital noise on the image after the fact. So once you've captured the image and you preview it, you will realize there's a lot of digital exposure added onto the image to make it look like it's not in complete darkness. Now we have a 5000 mAh battery with 33-watt charging support, and the charger is included inside the box. You do have a hybrid SIM tray, so you can pop in a micro SD card as well, but you do have dual SIM and dual 5G support. You also have 11 5G bands. For speaker, you have a single speaker, but they do have a volume boosted mode that gives you more audio. Here's what the speaker sounds like on this device. But I'm assuming that excludes the camera bump. The back of this phone has a textured glass, which feels really nice to the touch, and the front misses out on. And here is what the microphone sounds like on this phone. Here is a sample of what the microphone sounds like on the Poco X6 Neo. Overall, like I mentioned, if you're looking for the Redmi Note 13 in the Poco launcher skin, this phone is that device. But more importantly, you have a lot of other options in this price bracket. If you go back 1 year, you were getting the OnePlus Nord CE3 Lite, which does have a Snapdragon 695, which outperforms the MediaTek Dimensity 6080 in terms of not only day-to-day performance, but better efficiency and better performance just out the bat. So if you're looking for something like that, you do have those options in this price bracket, but there are lots of other options as well. And then you do have a similar kind of camera setup, but the image processing on the OnePlus with the Snapdragon image processor is much better according to us, especially low light performance. And you also do get 2 unwanted cameras instead of the 1 unwanted camera. So the Nord has macro 2 megapixel and a 2 megapixel depth, whereas this only has a 2 megapixel depth. So, I mean, you have lots of options, and you also have other options apart from the OnePlus Nord. So you can go pick something else if you're not interested in this device. I think the USP is the fact that it has a slim design, fairly lightweight design as well, and it will support a few years of Android updates, so 2 years of Android updates and 4 years of security updates. But the problem is that out of the box, this is only Android 13. It's not Android 14 in 2024. This should have been Android 14 and then promised 2 years of Android updates. So 1 year will go into Android 14. So effectively what you're getting is 1 year of Android updates. And this has the Poco launcher, a lot of preloaded apps, but you can delete them. And while setting up, you can disable those apps as well so that they don't end up in your home screen. Well, that's the review. If you have any questions or queries, drop them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, smash like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.